Hey friends, before we get into today's episode, I did want to kind of warn you that our conversation today is a bit deeper and more serious than usual. If you or someone you love is affected by domestic abuse or violence, please know that this episode may be triggering or sensitive to you. Fun on Weekdays is all about enjoying every moment of your life and taking control of it. Relationships can be amazing, but they can also turn toxic very fast and are a huge contribution to our overall health. Today, I sat down with my good friend Gabby Marcellus to tell her incredible story to hopefully empower some of you. If you or someone you love is struggling, I encourage you to find a friend or family member you trust, join a support group, find professional help, or you can also call the national hotline number. It's anonymous and confidential 24/7. The National Domestic Violence Hotline number is 1-800-799-7233. I love y'all so much. I want you to be safe. I want you to be happy. And please respect Gabby as she tells this very, very vulnerable story.
Perfect. Okay, we're both recording now. Everything is good. It's kind of weird to try to figure it out with somebody who's literally across the country right now.
Yeah, I know. What time is it for you there?
It is like 5 o'clock here.
Okay, yeah, it's 10. It's 10 here, so that makes sense.
Well, not even across the country, across the world, basically, right?
The world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so like a little brief introduction, you guys. I'm so excited to have Gabby on my podcast today. Gabby, we met in New York City, literally at my Bumble
Yes.
event, which is
Yes.
so insane. I meet so many people when I go out and travel and stuff, and it's really cool the people that you keep in touch with. But we met because you made a TikTok. So first of all, let's
Mhm.
have like a little intro to you, who you are, where you're from, and everything, and then we'll talk about how we met.
Okay, perfect. Hi guys, I'm Gabby. I right now live in Jersey City, but I just say New York City because it's the same thing. Um, but yeah, so I have a TikTok account and I saw that Jenna was hosting a Bumble event in New York City, and I was like, I really want to go, but I have nobody to go with. And so I was just like, well, I'm going by myself. And I made a TikTok about it. And I didn't expect you to see it at all. Like I literally did not expect you to see it. And then you commented like 2 minutes afterwards. And then I was like, "Ah, I'm scared."
Yeah, you were like changing your outfit. You're like, I'm about to go to this thing
Mhm.
alone. Like, I don't know anyone. And I saw your video because you tagged me in it. And comments, I mean, I feel like, do you look through your comments and like your mentions all the time? Because people are always like, oh, you're never going to see it. But I always see it, almost
I always
always.
do.
Yeah, there's sometimes
Mhm.
it'll like slip through the cracks, but I saw your video and I was like, oh my gosh, this girl is so cute. She's coming alone. Like, she's nervous. And then I commented on it. And when I saw you walk down the stairs, I was like, you're coming with me. We're going to have a good time. And we're going to introduce you to people because I don't know anybody here either. So then we met in New York and oh my God, we ended up going out together that night. I still have the pictures of us,
Yes.
the mirror selfies.
Me too. I have so many pictures of us. It's so funny. They're
Yeah.
actually really cute too.
I don't know about that.
Oh, okay.
They're
I won't post them ever.
Oh no. Okay. We can post them like just for the memories, but you know how when you're taking a picture and you're drinking and you think you look so much better than you do and you look back at it the next morning, you're like, what was I thinking? That's how I feel
Yes.
about those. Um, but anyways, we met and we've stayed in touch ever since. And like
Mhm.
you said, you have a TikTok, and on your TikTok, you talk all about like your relationship and you shared your story with me. And I don't want to share it for you because that's why I have you on here is to talk about it. But I think that sharing it would be really, really beneficial for everyone, especially because majority of my listeners are women, and like identifying when you're in a really toxic relationship can be hard, and stepping away from it can be
Mhm.
even harder. So the fact that you're able to do that, I give you all the credit in the world. And I kind of want to leave it up to you. Like, you tell your story and you share what you've been through because you are in where? London.
I'm in London.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, technically right now I'm in Bristol, but I'm in England right now.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I will say I probably will cry. So I apologize to everybody if I start crying.
We
Um,
welcome the tears here.
but
We welcome the emotions.
emotions are always good. Emotions are always good. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Yeah, okay. So, today, in 2 days, on Tuesday, the 30th of November, it will be exactly 1 year since I left my ex-fiance. I met my ex-fiance when I was in college, and my God, I don't know, there's something about him. I was obsessed with him. I loved him. I thought he was such a great guy, just like really misunderstood, this person
Oh,
that like has such a hard exterior. But I was just like, I'm going to give you this love that nobody else has ever given you, because I think in my mind, I was just like, you're so scared of getting hurt and of people leaving you that you won't let anybody in. So I'm just going to keep loving you through those moments,
yeah.
And so, we were like on and off all throughout my senior year. And right as we were graduating college, we kind of rekindled that flame. It was like something out of a movie. Like, I was just like, wow, we are meant to be in love. Like, this is crazy. And we did long distance for a while, and it was really not good. It was pretty toxic, but I blamed myself for being insecure. I blamed
Yeah.
myself for just thinking that like I was overthinking things. I thought that I was like reading too far into things. And I genuinely just was like, I have problems and I really need to figure out what they are.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I'll fast forward through all of that, and like but we wound up getting engaged February of 2020, and we had planned to apply for our fiance visa in March of 2020. And the minute that we applied for our visa, the whole world shut down.
Yeah.
Um,
A crazy,
so
crazy
our
year to be engaged. Like my heart goes out to all of the
yes.
COVID brides out there who have had to postpone it.
Honestly, if it wasn't for that though, I would be married and I'd be going through a divorce instead of a breakup. So
True.
I am very thankful for
Yeah.
that.
Life is
I'm
all
not gonna
about how
lie.
you look at it. You take it as something horrible.
Mhm.
You're really using it truly as like an opportunity to see the light at the end of the tunnel. So commend you for that.
Yeah,
But sorry, I don't
thank
mean to
you.
interrupt. It's such a good
No, oh
story.
my
So I'm
gosh, no,
like,
it's fine. No, don't worry. I love it. Commentary is great. Um, yeah, so like the minute that we applied for our fiance visa, like the world shut down, and that was really crazy. And we were supposed to be getting married August 13th of 2020, but I didn't get my fiance visa until October. And our fiance visa was literally supposed to take 6 weeks. So I should have been moved over there by May 1st.
okay.
But I didn't even get it until October. I think it was October 8th. And then I moved to England on October 24th. Like I got on a plane October 23rd of 2020, and the 24th I landed. And I just remember like going to the airport and just like hugging him and just sobbing, like just being like, we made it, you
Yeah.
know,
Especially through
all
that
of the
crazy
hard stuff.
year too. Like I can't imagine.
Mhm. Yeah. And like at this time we had gone through like him cheating on me, and like I had forgiven him for all of that craziness. And so like for me, I was just like, we made it, like we both have done things, we're not perfect, but we've
Mhm.
really worked hard for this love. Like we have worked hard for this, and we're
Yeah.
here. And it was like this beautiful moment for me. And it was just like everything, all the stuff that I had dealt with, like brought me to this moment, and I was with my person, and I was going to spend the rest of my life in England, and I was going to spend the rest of my life in love with this man. And 7 days in, we got into a fight about about him going grocery shopping, because I didn't seem appreciative enough about it.
Okay. It's always like
Yeah.
when there's that built up tension and like unspoken animosity towards each other, it always comes out from the smallest little things. And that's how you know that you've been
Mhm.
bottling things up over time. It's because you're like, why am I mad about like grocery shopping or like leaving the
Mhm.
lights on? Something so silly like that. And it's just like built up over time. I can't imagine too, like seeing somebody for the first time in so long and like thinking the relationship is going so great and you've worked through so much. But sorry.
Oh, don't be
Everything you
sorry.
say,
It's funny. Yeah, I like it.
everything you say, I'm like, oh my God, I just want to like talk to you. I just want to talk to you. But the story's not even over
No,
yet.
please do it.
Okay.
Oh my
So
gosh, please talk as much as you want. I love
I
it.
have a lot of questions and I'm trying to keep them in my mind so that when like at the end of this, I can like refer back to it. So I'll keep them in my mind for now. Okay. So we're going back to the
Okay, if
grocery
you want to
list.
ask them though, let me know. You're more than welcome to ask.
I got you. We'll keep it going for the story. And then
Okay.
I got them right up here. They're in a good
Got
place.
you. Okay, yeah. So he goes grocery shopping. I spend all morning making the list. I have like, okay, for dinners, we're gonna have like salmon and rice. And so it's like salmon and rice. And it's literally every single thing we need for salmon and rice. And it's just like literally a foolproof grocery list. There's no way you can mess it up.
Mhm.
But he comes back, and none of the groceries that I put on the list are there. And I was like, that's fine. A little bit annoying, but I'm not gonna make an issue out of it, like whatever. But I'm like, he bought all this lunch meat, but didn't buy bread. So I was like, how am I supposed to make you sandwiches for dinner or
I
for
just
lunch,
love
for
lunch
work,
meat. Lunch meat is sick to me. It's just not,
Oh,
it's not very
it makes
good,
me want
but
to throw
boys
up.
love it.
I won't do it.
Why?
I
Yeah.
don't know what.
Every once in a
No
while,
effort. That's why.
yeah, every once in a while you get a couple pieces of hard salami and you're like, this is pretty good. And then like 5 pieces in, you're like, what am I eating? This is so gross.
Yeah, no, literally, I'm the same exact way. Like lunch meat, grosses me out. But
Sick.
you want lunch meat? I'm gonna buy you lunch meat. I'll make your sandwiches.
Yeah,
I don't have to eat it.
turkey specifically makes me gag. Thanksgiving turkey, I can't talk about it. It'll make me sick. So anyways, he comes home from grocery shopping and he doesn't bring anything that you put on this very thoughtfully, carefully curated list, trying to be like sweet
Mhm.
and trying to plan things out. And he doesn't bring any of it.
Yeah, so like half the stuff is not there. So then I apparently have this look on my face, this look of disgust, he called it. And I was like, I'm so sorry. I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to make us meals now because none of this goes together. And then I very specifically remember being like, why did you buy so much rice? Like literally in that exact voice, because he had like 6 packets of rice that you just like throw into the microwave. And I was like, listen, we're not going to eat 10 packets of rice in 1 week. Like, why did you buy so much and not buy bread? And
Mhm.
oh my God, literally the way that he looked at me and the way that he just was like, the world doesn't revolve around you, Gabby. Like you do know that, right? Like, sorry, I wanted rice. Sorry, I want rice. And
Oh
just
my
like
God.
the way it flipped, I was like,
You're scary. I've
oh,
never seen this side of
yeah.
you. Yeah.
Oh no, I had seen it. I had seen it plenty of
Uh-oh.
times. But it was just like over rice, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
The simplest things,
and
like I said, it's just all this pent up anger and it comes out from the dumbest things. Rice, but rice was what it was for you.
yeah, it was just like, and it wasn't even meant to be rude. It was just like, just genuinely curious. Like, why did you buy so much rice, but not bread? Like, I didn't get it. But so he got so angry at me and he's starting to just like go off on me and tell me, the world doesn't revolve around you. I know that you think it does, but it doesn't. And he's just like kind of like being super mean to me and is just like telling me that like I'm not appreciative of anything he does. And he's just going on and on and on. And I'm like, I don't want to fight with you. I've literally just gotten here a week ago. I just want to be happy with you. And it starts to make me almost cry. And anytime I start to cry in front of him, it's always, why are you crying? Stop crying. Don't cry. You have no reason to cry. And he was just always really mean to me when I cried. So I was in the middle of making him tea at the time. So I excused myself to go and cry in the bathroom because I didn't want to start a fight because I was crying.
Yeah.
And I can hear him from 2 rooms away saying, she's so bleeping, because I don't know if I can cuss on here.
You can.
Bleeping angry. I can or can't.
No, you can. Go ahead, girl. Get it all out.
Okay.
We are
No.
filtering you here at all. This is your story. You tell it however
Thank you.
you want. However the fuck you want, Gabby.
Perfect. Okay, no, he literally, I can hear him from 2 rooms away saying, she's so fucking lazy, can't even finish making me a cup of tea.
Ew.
Do you know what I didn't do, Jenna? I didn't pour fucking milk in his tea.
Oh
That's
my
it.
God. As if he
That's
can't do
it.
it
And like,
himself too.
as if
Like,
he can't, yeah. And
wow.
I just like I remember opening that door and I was shaking, like my hands were like shaking so crazy. And like, I just had these huge crocodile tears like pouring down my face because at this time I was like, what? Like, I can't do anything right. Like
Mhm.
I can't do anything right, And I come out and I'm like, what did you just say? And then he just is like, oh, you like, you just don't do anything for me. Like you're just so fucking lazy, blah, 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 blah. And he just storms out, just leaves.
Oh my gosh.
Just leaves. I can't leave because I have to isolate for Corona. So I'm in our house.
Oh.
I'm sobbing because
I'm
I
sure
was
that's
right in
hard
the middle of national
too.
lockdown.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
one of my questions I was going to ask was there a reason why you couldn't go grocery shopping? And I just kind of figured it was because like you just moved there. You probably didn't know the area. Also I've literally never been out of, other than like Cancun, I've never been out of like the US. So I really don't know what it's like
Mhm.
over in London. But that makes a lot of sense because you just gotten there. So you had to like lock down for 2 weeks before you could go out and do
Mhm.
anything. So he truly realized
Mhm.
like the only person that could do the groceries.
Yeah, I literally couldn't do anything. I wasn't legally not allowed out of our apartment.
That's so crazy. Also, another thing too that I wanted to say was it's so sad that you felt like you couldn't express your emotions. Like when the person that you're with is suppressing the way that you feel and makes you feel guilty for your feelings, that's I don't know. Is that gaslighting? I guess I don't really know what
That's
gaslighting
literally
means,
a
but I
huge
think
red
that that's
flag.
what it is. Yeah. If
I
it's
can tell
not
you all
that,
about
it's a
it.
red flag. And that's enough to like when you're questioning your own sanity, thinking like, I can't feel sad because if I feel sad, then he's gonna be mad that I'm sad. That's
Mhm.
you deserve to be with somebody that like empathizes for you. And even if they don't feel it, they respect that you feel it. It's so sad. I'm
Mhm.
so sorry,
Yeah, no.
Gabby.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I think one of the biggest red flags, like first off, if somebody that you're with does not allow you to express something that makes you uncomfortable or just
Mhm.
communicate your feelings, if they make you feel bad for communicating your feelings, like the classic, like, oh, it's always something with you, or like somebody being like, oh, you're always like, here we go again, stuff like that, huge red flag. And that's not cool and that's not okay. Um, but that's where it got to me, where it was literally like I had to pick what I communicated with him,
Yes.
because if anytime I shared how something made me feel, it was a huge 3 4 hour fight telling me he can, like, oh, it was horrible, it was just like, oh, I guess I can never do anything right, Gabby, like I do everything for you but it's never enough. And it's like, no, I'm literally just communicating how I feel.
Yeah. And then at some point you pick and choose what you want to share. And then
Mm-hmm.
you feel like you are filtering yourself. And after so much filtering, you filter out who you really are. And then you're left with like
Mm-hmm.
this piece of who the person like wants you to be. And that's when you lose sight of yourself. And I feel like it's so easy when you lose sight of yourself to lose sight of like a healthy relationship. And so then you justify everything. So
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's super hard to really just like acknowledge the things that are like wrong in your relationship. And like if you're trying to make an effort to change them to make it healthier and the person that you're with is shutting you down, then I don't know. I feel like it comes to a point where you have to prioritize yourself over that.
Mm-hmm.
So when you
Yeah.
guys got in this fight, what happened after that?
So, I like come out of the bathroom and he's really mad at me for just like saying anything to him. So he
Mhm.
leaves the apartment. I'm crying, like crying. And I think he was gone for like over an hour at this point. And I'm just like still crying. And he comes in and he comes back with the rest of the groceries. So we went to the grocery store and I
Yeah.
knew immediately he was going to the grocery store. And he specifically was like, I don't want to hear you moan anymore, like complain. So
Yeah.
he was like, I don't want to hear you
Not
complain
that kind of
anymore.
moan,
So I just,
girls.
yeah, not that kind of moan.
I did not. I'm sorry.
um,
That was an inappropriate joke for an incorrect
that's
time.
okay.
Okay.
If you don't laugh, we'll cry. So it's okay. Let's make
Okay.
jokes.
Perfect. We can laugh, cry.
um,
Sometimes the best tears come from laughing. So
yeah.
hopefully we can do that today. It'll be happy tears.
No, we will. We can. It'll be great. But yeah, so he was like, I basically don't want to hear you complain. So I'm gonna go and get the rest of the groceries. And so he comes in, he puts the groceries down. I'm doing the dishes right now, still crying. And he hugs me and he's just like, I got the rest of the groceries for you. Completely different man,
Oh my
then walked out
God.
the door. So you can imagine the fucking like whiplash I'm feeling in my head, where it was just
Yes.
like, you were so mean to me and you said horrible, terrible things about me, telling me I was selfish because of groceries.
Hmm.
And now you expect me to be appreciative. And I literally told him, I was like, I'm not going to thank you
Yeah.
because I appreciate you doing that. But the reason that you did it was not because you wanted to do something nice for me. It was
Yeah.
basically a fuck you. It literally
Mhm.
was. Like, it was genuinely like, I'm going to do this and you're going to feel bad about making me do this?
Ugh, that's so gross. It's
Um,
such like an emotional roller coaster. And when people do things
mhm.
just because they know that they upset you, like to try to make up for it and try to act like nothing happened, that's almost like worse than just acknowledging the fact that you fucked up, you know? Because then it
Yeah,
makes you
because
think
it
you're like,
wasn't
oh
even an
wait,
apology.
right. And you're like, oh my God, wait, now he's being sweet. Like, am I being dramatic because I was just mad at him and now, but he just did this nice thing for me. So like
Yes.
maybe I shouldn't be mad. And that's playing mind games with yourself. That gets so overwhelming after a certain amount of time. Like I get that. And I'm sure so many people listening to this podcast can relate to that. Like so hard.
Yeah, actually, that's like a really great way to talk about it, is like, because you feel like you can't be mad anymore because they did something nice for you. And do you know what that is? It's literally mental and emotional abuse to a T.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. And it's like I still want to be upset because I know that I have a reason to be upset, but now you did this nice thing for me and you're like, why are you still upset? I went grocery shopping for you. I did everything for you. I just went out in the pouring rain to get you these groceries, Gabby. And it's like, yes, and I appreciate that. However, the intention was not to be kind. The intention was literally just to be like, look what you made me do. Look what I have to do to keep you happy.
Yeah.
Um, and the intention behind it was just like purely malicious.
Yeah. That's really upsetting. So is that kind of like what this fight, is that what really started kind of like the argument and led to the breakup?
No,
Okay, so this is just
no,
like this is
that was
literally
the beginning of
just
the day.
oh my God. Okay, so we are not even at the climax, you guys.
Oh my God,
So
no,
we're still an
no.
uphill battle. Okay. So it starts with the
Yes,
grocery
so
argument.
mhm.
And then
Yeah, so it starts with the grocery argument, and then I just want to be over it. So you know what? I tell him my peace of mind. I'm just like, you didn't do that for me, so I'm not going to thank you. Like I am appreciative of it, but like I don't
right.
like the reason you did it, And then I was like, listen, I don't want to fight with you. I've only been here a week. I just like want to be happy and just want to like enjoy your presence because you go back to work on Monday.
Right.
And that night we're watching a movie. He puts his phone down on his bed to plug in the computer. I just
Oh my
happen
God.
to glance over and I see a girl in his DMs, a name I've never heard of. And immediately my stomach sinks and I'm just like, I
Ugh,
knew it was happening again.
my stomach
Like
is sinking for you. I feel that.
there were so many times during COVID that I was like, are you cheating on me again?
Yeah.
Because it wasn't just one girl when I first found out. I found out about 2 secret trips planned with women, and
Shut
then I
up.
found
Oh my
mhm,
God.
and then I found out about 6 different women in his phones, like nudes,
Gabby.
nude pictures mixed into pictures right next to my face. Like,
Oh
let
my
me just tell
God.
you. Mhm,
Ew.
and yeah, and then I found out about a girl that was blocked on my Instagram, and that was a girl on his tennis team that he, was having sex with while he was with me.
Wait, she was blocked on your Instagram because he blocked her from your profile?
Oh, yeah, he
Shut
logged
up.
into my account. He came and spent Christmas with
Oh
me in
my God.
2018. He logged into my Instagram account. He blocked the girl he was cheating on me with and put my account on private so that any pictures I put up of him and I would not be seen.
Oh my God. And this,
Mhm.
how far back does this
Oh,
go? Of like, I know I
oh,
can
I'm
see
shaking.
you. I feel for you so much. I wish I could hug you, like literally through
Oh,
the
thanks.
computer screen. I truly can't even like imagine that. So how far back did like the cheating go? Because it sounds like there's a long history of it.
Okay, I definitely know that it was happening when we first were seeing each other in university.
Okay.
I used to pick up condom wrappers that were on his floor because I was
Ew.
like, yeah, I was just like, why are there so many? And then I was like, these can't be for me. Like, wow, I'm really outing myself right now. I'm so sorry, mom. But I
Hey,
literally,
mom.
yeah, I used to, I'm so sorry. I hope you don't listen to this. I used to like pick up them every single time I went to his house because they were
Oh
just
my God.
under his bed. And so I used to throw them away. And he used to text my friends and be like, okay, I threw them away, didn't I last time? And he was like, they're all from you. Like, what, like, you're being crazy. No, it definitely, the
Oh my
things you
God.
the things you really talk yourself out of, I knew deep down, but I really
Yeah.
was like, I'm crazy. I'm crazy. No.
Well, it's
Mm-mm.
so easy to talk yourself out of things when you love someone. When you love someone, you are
Mhm.
so blinded by like the truth because you see
Mhm.
a version of that person that you've created in your mind. And it doesn't matter how many times they do you wrong. If you have that vision of who that person is in your mind, you can't change that until you make the decision that you're going to stop seeing them that way. And then eventually you're like, holy shit, you've been screwing me over this entire time. Like that,
Yeah.
that is wild. So my question about like the cheating was during all these times, like when it was happening, how did you
Yeah.
address it? Because I think a lot of times people like know they have a hunch, they have this feeling, a gut instinct, and they always talk themselves out of trusting that because, like, oh, well, what if they're not, you know?
Mhm.
And then once you do find out that they're cheating, how do you approach that? Like, do you just go straight up to them and do you just say, I know you did this, or do you ask them? Because I feel like there's,
So yeah. Okay, so when I found out, like the first time I found out about like the secret trips and like I found out about the secret trips, and that night I found out about like the 6 different women online cheating and stuff.
yeah.
I didn't say anything to him because I knew he was gonna lie because this man lied to me all the time.
Mhm.
All the time. And I always knew it and I always caught him because I was smart enough to know that he was lying, but not smart enough to leave, but it's
Yeah.
okay.
No, that's
Eventually got there.
okay. That's okay. I don't think it's
um
that I don't think it's that you're not smart enough. I think it's just that like you weren't
prepared.
ready yet. Like you were still holding
Hmm.
on to that piece of like what if he changes? Like what if I'm the person
Hmm.
that makes him better? And everybody always wants to be with the person that's like a workshop, you know? Like you want to feel better about yourself because you feel like you're making somebody else better. And you feel like that one
Hmm.
girl that can like change him. But newsflash, no one's going to change anyone unless they want to change for you. So I don't think it's that you weren't
Yeah.
smart enough. You just weren't ready to give up yet. And I think that's
Yeah.
commendable. Like that just shows
Oh,
that you
thanks.
truly loved him and you were just persevering through it because you believed like at the end of the day, he was your person. But at the end of the
Yeah,
day,
I really
whoever
did.
your person is would never put you in a position to potentially lose you.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Like that's a big thing. And I mean, I knew that, but it was just, so answer your question, I guess, before I go in.
Yeah.
When I found out, about the secret trips, I went through his phone because I knew he wasn't gonna tell me the truth. Because, I had plenty of proof that it was probably happening, but I didn't have any hard proof. Um, and so I went through his phone and I found messages between him and this girl, and he was saying that he didn't have a girlfriend, even though he very much did. And then I went through his hidden photo album on his phone, and I found lots of, naked pictures of other women. And
Ew.
then I went to his WhatsApp and I found lots of other
WhatsApp?
pictures.
Why in the
Let me tell you, I
fuck?
never, mhm.
I was just
Yeah,
gonna say, why in
I
the world
never
would you
even got into
WhatsApp?
his kick. Oh yeah, his
A
WhatsApp is like
kick?
super normal. Yeah, I never even got into his kick. Let me tell you, the things I think I would have found in that, they keep me up at night sometimes because like that's the one app
God.
I could never get into. But yeah, so I found stuff on WhatsApp. I found stuff on his deleted pictures. Oh my God. Yeah.
That's
Um,
literally insane. I can't even imagine like when you get upset with somebody and your heart starts racing and it literally feels like you're going to throw up your entire heart, like your organs
mhm,
inside of you. You just feel so sick and you're just so angry, you're shaking, can't think about anything else. Like I've had that feeling. So many people have had that feeling, but I cannot imagine the anger and like the betrayal and just
mhm.
like the sadness that would come from that. I can't believe that. I also cannot believe that he had a fucking WhatsApp and a Kick. To me, like those two apps, those are for like internet hackers or something. Like those are for people who are hiding something so deep that they can't use their own phone number to be tracked. Like that is so
Mhm.
sketchy. If your boyfriend or girlfriend out there has a WhatsApp or a Kick, you better get your shit in there because I don't I don't trust that.
Yeah. I mean, WhatsApp made sense because like like he's from England, so he's an
Oh,
international person. So like they use
okay.
that more than they actually use iMessage, but it was still the fact that like, I mean, still like it was just
Okay.
weird,
Yeah.
the pictures and everything. Um,
I guess I
yeah.
wasn't thinking about WhatsApp internationally because that's how they text people like from the US, right?
Yeah, I
Or
mean, you can use iMessage, but like
okay.
most people in the UK use WhatsApp just to text their friends, even in England. Like I don't
Okay.
know why,
Weird.
but yeah. Yeah, it is a
Okay.
little bit weird, but yeah. So, I mean, when I found out about all of this, like I will never forget them. I'm literally shaking because I'm like,
Oh,
I can bring myself back to that moment. I literally like unlocked myself in the bathroom and I was like, you're cheating on me. Like you're cheating on me. I was right. I knew it. Like
mhm.
the whole time you were telling me I was crazy, I was right. And he literally like wakes up because it's like 5 o'clock in the morning. And he's like, what? What? No, I not cheating on you. What? And I was like,
Yeah.
yes, you have. And I was like, I know what I was looking at. And
Mhm.
immediately he's like, that's not cheating. I didn't cheat on you. Cheating is only physical. I didn't cheat on
No,
you.
it's
Like
not.
that
Yeah.
doesn't count as cheating. And I was like, are you, that doesn't count as cheating. You literally told this girl you don't have a girlfriend.
Yeah.
And, it was just like, we were up all night. I think we didn't go to bed until about 4 o'clock the next afternoon because we were just fighting. And he
Yeah.
like cornered me up against a wall and was like,
Oh my
just talk. No,
God.
it's fine. It's fine. And I was like, get away from me, get away from me, get away. And he like would not give me any space. Like we had to be
Yeah.
quiet because there were other people in the house. And it was like, it was insane.
Obviously, when he reacts to it that way, it doesn't make it like a conducive environment where you feel like you could ever bring it up again, I'm sure. Probably
Mhm.
like scary too. I mean, you don't want to be in a situation where you're like cornered up against a wall and you can't like willingly leave a conversation. So after all of that, obviously you kind of like got over it, right? Or I mean, you didn't get over it. Like no one gets over that, but you can
Yeah.
forgive and you can like move past it. So
Mhm.
what did you do in order to like after that first initial fight of finding out he was cheating on you, how did you guys like move forward?
Um, I really just pretended it didn't happen. I had to. If I
Yeah.
wanted to be with him, I was not allowed to bring it up because anytime I brought up my feelings about it, it was like, why are we doing this? If you're still going to be upset about it, why are we doing it? So I literally pretended it didn't happen, which is why I'm struggling so hard, like in this past year,
Yeah.
which is why I talk about it so much, because I never dealt with that stuff. I just suppressed it and pretended it never happened, because I just needed to move on. I just needed to like move on and get past it so that we could be happy. But our relationship was never the same after that. Like I never trusted him.
Yeah.
I was always like reading into every situation, and every single time I wound up being right. But
Yeah.
it was rough. It
Oh
was rough.
my heart hurts for you.
Yeah.
I also
Mhm.
too, seriously, if there's anything that you don't want to talk about, like just
Yeah.
tell me. Like I know that
I'm an
talking
open book.
about like abusive relationships, it's so triggering. So if any part of
Mhm.
this is like bringing you back to a point that and you don't want to talk about it, I completely understand. Completely
Oh,
understand.
thank you.
Sorry, are you
Thank
good?
you. No, I'm so good. The thing is like
Okay.
talking about it and like acknowledging
It
it,
almost
like
is like a sense of
is
therapy.
helpful.
Okay.
Yeah, because so many people never knew about any of this stuff.
Mhm.
So it really is like a lot of this is like the first time I do like my TikTok and everything. It's like the first time I've ever been able to talk about it.
Right.
A lot of the stories I share, my friends don't even know.
That's crazy. Yeah. And I
Mhm.
think another part of struggling in a relationship like that too is you want to talk about it, but you don't want to talk about it with your close friends or your family because the second you do, those friends and family see them in a different light. And then their lack of support for your relationship is like it drives a wedge between you two, you know? So I'm sure that's
Mhm.
probably hard too. Like people finding out for the first time, through like social media. But I think that social media for that aspect can be like very therapeutic because you can speak like your truth and you can find your community that relates to you and can like help you guys through it together. So
Mhm.
going back to the engagement. So
Yes.
you've gone through the cheating before, you've worked past it, you just suppressed it and tried to forget about it. And then
Mhm.
you were in London, you're about to get engaged. This fight comes about and you find out that he's cheating again.
Yeah. Well, I found out about a girl, didn't know anything about it.
Okay.
I automatically have that feeling of here we go again.
Mhm.
Um, I excuse myself to the bathroom. I have really bad IBS. I always have diarrhea. Let me just tell you, point blank period. So I just pretend I'm having diarrhea. And not out of the ordinary, happens all the time. So I go in the bathroom and I'm in the bathroom. I'm literally like, oh, my stomach, oops. And I'm literally just stalking this girl. Literally,
Yeah.
I know what college she went to. I know everything about this girl. And I'm just like, oh my God, like this girl is one of the girls I saw in his photo album in 2019 when I found naked pictures.
Oh my God. It goes back that
And this,
far. That's
no,
wild.
but it goes back even further because this was a girl that he met in 2017 when we were first dating.
Oh my gosh.
And the college that she went to, the only girls he knew from that college were from a dating app. So I all of a sudden was just like,
Okay.
it all makes sense. And
Yeah.
so I immediately am just like, well, maybe I'm just like making up a story in my head. Maybe it's all just a coincidence.
Mhm.
So I eventually collect myself, I calm myself down enough. My diarrhea flare, goes away. So
I'm glad that you can add like because like this is the Gabby that I know. It's like it's just goofy funny. I'm glad that you can like still get that essence of like your personality through such like a very serious topic. I don't mean to laugh,
oh,
but it is
oh,
funny. You're
please
like,
do laugh.
yeah, like you're going to the bathroom, put on like some sound effects, make it a little bit more realistic. So they think that you're actually just dying in there.
Yeah.
The fact that you're able to like collect yourself before even bringing it up,
Mhm.
I feel like oftentimes like the most strength and power comes in addressing situations when like a couple of days after, a couple hours after, when you've had time to like truly think about how you feel and you're not just acting on impulse, because so
Mhm.
many words come out and it becomes so much more aggressive when you just go
Mhm.
on your immediate instinct of like, I'm fucking pissed. I found this out. So commend you
Mhm.
for being able to like just collect yourself and respect
Thank
yourself to be
you.
like, no, I don't deserve this. So, okay, my
Yeah.
bad. Okay, so
No,
then
I
and then you
wasn't
go.
always like that.
Yeah, it takes
Yeah.
time. I mean, I'm guilty. Like
Yeah,
I think everyone is guilty
we all
at some
are,
point in their life.
Yeah, I mean, we all are. And like, I think like a big thing I learned about throughout this whole thing was like this thing called reactive abuse. And it's literally you just like acting
Right.
out like towards like the abuse that you're given. And like, so for me, it was just like, I know that I don't handle situations well if I come out them very emotionally. So I was just like, I don't want to like cause a fight, cause a scene. So I was like, let me just like collect myself. And I went in there and I just was like, I sat there for a little while before I said anything. And he could tell that he could tell I was off. And he's like, what's wrong? And so I was like, okay. So I saw that you were messaging another girl and I feel really uncomfortable with it. And like, I'm literally talking to him the way that I'm talking right now. And I was like, I feel really uncomfortable with it. And because of past things that you've done, I need to see your messages. I would feel more comfortable seeing these messages because I have a really bad feeling right now. And as your fiance, this is what I need from you.
Yeah.
Immediately, Jenna, oh, I will never forget this. Immediately, he's like, get the fuck out. Get the fuck out of my apartment. How dare you, Gabby? How dare you? He starts cussing and screaming, literally like it literally went from 0 to 100. And I was just like, oh my God. Like, I literally thinking about it, it was like the craziest thing. I was just like, are you serious right now? And I was just like, okay, so your reaction is telling me that you have something that you're hiding from me. And that kind of tells me everything that I need to know. So you either show me these messages or like, we're going to have a problem. And, he's just like screaming and cussing at me, telling me like, how dare you? And then he starts bringing up things that I did while we were broken up in 2018.
Yeah.
And he's just like throwing anything and everything at me to get any of the, like, he's deflecting at this point. He doesn't want to talk about the girl. And he's just like cussing at me. He's literally like, get the fuck out. Get out, get the fuck out of my apartment. And I'm isolating for Corona, literally legally cannot leave.
Oh my gosh. I forgot about that part.
And so I was like, where am I supposed to go? Like, I literally can't leave. So then he just like grabs his stuff, throws a tantrum and goes into the living room and ignores me the rest of the night. I had made his favorite thing to do when we got into fights was blame me for being too drunk. I had just made us 2 gin and tonics, and those things are strong. They were really strong, which is why I know that I didn't drink it, because I had a little sippy sip and I was like, ooh, that was strong.
Yeah, you feel it burn in the back of your esophagus. You're like, am I drinking a gin and tonic or just straight rubbing alcohol that you put on your ears to clean them? Like, what are you drinking here? So
literally, yeah, I knew that I hadn't drank it. And then like, he's just like, you're not going to remember what you said to me in the morning because you're so drunk. And I was like, you see my gin? You see my, it's full. I'm going to remember everything.
He wanted you to believe truly that you were drunk and that you were forgetting it. So that in the morning when he tells you you were so drunk, like you drank so much that did not happen, that you would believe it. Cause you're like, did I drink? I read that in a book. Like, I don't know if I read that in a book or I heard somebody tell a similar story about that, but they were like convinced that they were like drunk or that they were like in a wrong state of mind. And then they're like, okay, maybe that didn't happen. So I'm glad that you're like, no,
all of our fights. Yeah.
That's insane. Yeah. And that's just because he doesn't want you to believe reality. Cause he's like, the second you believe it and the second it's true, like you might leave me. What an ass. I hate him.
Yeah. No, literally. Yeah. Me too.
Let's cancel him.
Yeah. 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 But so he like is ignoring me all night. He's watching Netflix, acting like he doesn't have a care in the world. Meanwhile, I'm crying in bed, absolutely no empathy at all. I go in and I'm like, so who texted who first? And he's like, I texted her. And I was like, why? Like, why did you feel the need to talk to her when I just moved here? And like, he just was ignoring me, acting like I was being crazy and dramatic and insane. And then he just is like, I'm done with this conversation, puts his headphones on and ignores me the rest of the night, I wind up posting on a Facebook group because I was involved in it was called like American Women in the UK. I posted on it. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. I still have screenshots of it. But it literally was just like, hey, I just moved here a week ago and I'm not sure if I should be here anymore. Like my fiance has made some mistakes in the past, and with infidelity, but I really thought he had changed. but tonight we got into a fight because I was appreciative of grocery shopping. And then I find out about this other girl. And like, I just tell him about his reaction. And everybody, like, I'm not kidding you when I said I had hundreds of comments of women being like, this is an abusive relationship. You're in an abusive relationship. And I was like, no, you're wrong.
Yeah. Oh my
No,
God.
he loves me.
I have like
Yeah.
full body chills right now. That's so crazy. Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
It's so good though to see people validating how you feel and being like, okay, so I wasn't crazy like all this time. And people are telling me, like, finally, you have an unbiased opinion. People who don't know you at all, right? They're like trying to tell
But
you
I
to
was
do
mad at
the,
them.
yeah. Well, whenever you hear something that you don't want to hear, your immediate
Yeah.
instinct is to be like, fuck you, you're wrong. So I could see why
Yeah, I
you
was
would,
like, it's my fault.
yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. So you went to the Facebook group, which good for you. Like that's a really good idea, honestly, because especially like you said, you couldn't talk to like your family or friends. So I feel like that
Mhm.
was probably a really good like anonymous outlet in a sense,
Mhm.
especially being in a different country too. Can't imagine that. So they all
Mhm.
told you like leave and then you're mad, but then
Um,
eventually,
yeah, I like think they're being crazy. I was like, they don't understand. Like, it's me. Like, all of these problems we have in our relationship are from me. And if I could just learn how to control myself better, if I could just not be so insecure, if I could just not be like so sensitive about stuff, we would be fine. Like,
Mhm.
it's a me problem, you know? But the next day, we get up, he's acting like nothing happened. He's being so sweet to me, loving, kind, and I'm like, no, we need to talk. And I wind up recording our conversation because there's so many fights that we've had in the past where he's like, you don't understand how you come off. You don't understand how you speak to me. You don't understand the things that you say. Like, I genuinely thought that I was forgetting things that I said and did, Um, and so I just recorded this for myself. It was a 2.5 hour long conversation, Jenna, of him literally just telling me that I was controlling, I was manipulative, I made him unhappy, that he had more
God.
rights in prison than he had with me.
No.
Yeah, he literally was like, I would have more rights in prison than I have with you. He threatened to jump out of a window
Oh
because
my
he was sick of
God.
having a conversation with it. And he was like, having conversations like this makes me want to kill myself, like really horrible things. And just was telling me, he's like, you think you're a good person and you're not. And I was like, you make me sound like I'm abusive. And he said, you are. You are.
Oh my God.
And I was
That
just
is
like,
like the exact
oh my
opposite.
God. Yeah. And so I was just really confused. And the whole time I'm crying, I'm so sad.
Yeah.
Like, I was just so sad because I was like, how can you say these things about me? Like, I love you. I just don't want you to talk to other women. But he was talking about, I had a fitness Instagram that I really loved. And he was telling me how embarrassing that was. And that,
Ugh.
I show my tits and ass and that's worse
If
than
you
him
got
texting
it,
this girl.
oh my God, if you have it, then flaunt it. I can't get over that. I'm like, dude, if I had boobs, like, okay. Yeah, Gabby's got like awesome boobs. Let me just say that. She wore
Thanks.
this
Oh, I
like,
can't show him.
yeah, she wore this like bodysuit to the Bumble event. I was like, Gabby, get it, girl. But
Oh my
even
gosh.
that though, like when guys specifically, like your significant other, when they talk down about you for posting things like that, why in the world then are you liking it from another girl? Like, for example, oh my
Mm-hmm.
God, like
Oh my God.
Halloween.
Yeah.
People have no problem liking girls' scandalous Halloween costumes, but the second that you wear it, no. And why is that? Because they're insecure, because they think that what you post is a reflection of them and their ego is too big for it to like be bruised. That's
Mm-hmm.
so gross. So like if anybody out there has a boyfriend that's like, you can't post this, like this is embarrassing. They are so insecure of themselves that they're projecting onto you. And that itself is like a red flag. You don't want to feel like you have to be filtered or defined by like what someone thinks of you. Like, ugh, ew.
Yeah.
Your boyfriend should be like, oh my God, hyping you up. Like, this is a hot picture. Or I'm so proud of you for starting a fitness Instagram. And like, yeah, it's out of my comfort zone, but I'm proud of you for stepping out of yours to do something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure.
Yeah. And it was really, oh, sorry.
Oh, no, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say, it was really confusing because he was so like supportive of it. He
Mhm.
like commented on all of my pictures and like loved it. And the picture that he was talking about, I literally sent to him before I posted it. And I was like, if you're uncomfortable with this, like actually I had posted it and I was like, hey, just so you know, I posted this. If you're uncomfortable, let me know and I'll take it down. And he was like, no, it's fine.
Oh, But then he turns
And then
around
all
when
of a
it's
sudden it's a
convenient for
problem.
him to be like, oh,
Mhm.
this is wrong. You did this, you did this. It's so easy to turn around when in the moment when you're trying to look for something that's wrong to bring up these little itty bitty things and
Mhm.
like, oh, that's so, ugh, ew, I just
Yeah,
hate.
it's literally just deflection. It was
Oh,
just
100%,
deflection.
100%. I'm glad
Yeah.
that you like recognized that though. And so this
Mhm.
recording that you have, I'm sure it was like really nice to be able to listen to it back. I mean, I'm sure probably very painful and hard to do that, but also probably like comforting knowing this was all in my mind. He made me think this, but like
Mhm.
truly, I was not acting like that. Has he ever heard
Yeah.
the recording? I'm curious.
No, no.
Okay.
Oh God, no. The only time he knew that I recorded, it got really bad.
Okay. Yeah.
Like really bad.
I was curious because I feel like had he had, because he didn't know you were recording, right?
Mm-mm. Because I was
Yeah.
only doing it to see how I could better improve
Right.
our relationship. I was only doing it to like figure out what I was doing wrong because I
Mhm.
was like, I'm doing all these things and I just like don't even know it. But you know, eventually like listening to it back the next day, I was just like, oh my God, everything he said, it was a lie. And like, you know, his story, like I actually just listened to voice recordings like last week. And like the whole time he was just like, you were really horrible to me. You were yelling at me and cussing at me, screaming at me. I was like, no, I didn't. I didn't do any of that. And he literally said, well, you're too drunk. You wouldn't remember. And I was like, no, I wasn't. And then like halfway through, he's like, okay, fine, you're right. You weren't yelling at me. Like you were nice, but like your tone was a little rough. You don't understand how aggressive you can sound, you know?
Oh
So
my
it's just like
God.
his story was continuously changing.
Right.
And like I was just like, oh my God. Because also after the recording ended, I like went to take a shower. I was like trying to get away from the situation. And he like blocked me from getting into the bathroom and was just like literally seconds after he was telling me how abusive I was, he was just like, I just want to be okay with you again. Like, I
Mhm.
just want to be happy. And I was like, I can't just be okay. And then so he got mad and he like pushed past me. Like I like flew backwards a little bit because it was like a high school like shoulder push, you know. I'm 5'3". So
Yeah.
and he's 6 foot. So I was like, whoa, you know, I flew
Yeah.
back a little bit and I said, excuse me. But then he like went to the closet, he got my suitcase, he was like, fine, you want to leave? Fucking leave. Do you want me to pack your shit or do you want to? Do you want to pack your shit or should I?
Oh my
And then I go
God.
into the bathroom, I'm just crying. I take a shower and I'm like, am I going to come out to my shit being everywhere? Am I going to come out to like my stuff being packed? Is he going to be
Right.
nice? What is it? Get out of the shower. So kind, so nice. Wiping my tears as I'm crying, telling me that he didn't mean any of the stuff he said to me, that he only said it to get a reaction out of me because he
Oh
feels like I
my God.
don't care anymore. And then he was just like, you know, like you have a heart of gold. You're the kindest person I've ever met. Like I've never met anybody that loves me as much as you do. And it was just like the wildest roller coaster. And
Mhm.
that is what made me start researching abuse.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
It's crazy.
So I like
Well,
started researching
he
abuse.
he was right. You do have a heart of gold and you are so kind and loving. And he
Thank you.
did not deserve all of that love and kindness. So I hope that
Oh, thank
eventually
you.
you find someone that does deserve it. But until then, you're giving it to yourself, which I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
So you start
Thank
researching
you.
abuse. And this is kind of when you start
Hmm.
like making idea. And this is when you're in London, right? Like you're researching this while you're
Yeah.
still with him. Okay.
Hmm. Yeah, I started researching abuse literally November 2nd. Like I remember I researched it like it was my damn job because I wasn't allowed to work. So
Hmm.
while he was away at work from 9 to 5, I was literally just researching abuse, covert abuse, abuse in relationship. And then I stumbled on something called narcissistic abuse, covert narcissistic abuse. And for the first time, everything that I had experienced in the whole 3.5 years I had known him was like, it was literally, I'll never forget the moment that I like full body chills, my stomach dropped. I thought I was gonna be throwing up. Like it was just the craziest thing. I was just like, oh my God, this is what I've been going through. Like it
Yeah.
was insane. And I just started researching like the cycle of abuse. And I started researching like different tactics of abuse, different tactics of manipulation. And I could just see it playing out in our relationship, you know?
Hmm.
Um, and I could just like I started to use a lot of the tactics to like, so like when the tactics that he would use to manipulate me, I would use the tactics that they said to like kind of combat that, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Um yeah, so like anytime he tried to deflect the conversation, I was like, I understand that maybe you are upset about X, Y, and Z. But this conversation started out about you talking up to another girl. So we can revisit what you're upset at after we finish talking about and find a resolution about this other girl, you know?
Yeah.
And the more I did it, the worse it got. And one day I had found out, November 11th, I remember the day, I found out he was still talking to the girl that I had first found out about when I moved to England, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it got to the point he found out I was recording. It got really bad. Like on the recording, I had me like crying and screaming, talking about how I was scared he was going to hit me. And I had him laughing. He literally laughed.
Oh my God.
Gabby,
Yeah, I'm
like
so
he like,
sorry that you had to go through this.
thank you.
Seriously, I feel like I truly haven't like ever talked to somebody that's been so like, I know a lot of people go through stuff like this, but I really haven't talked to anybody who's like so open and honest about everything you've like struggled with. So it gives me like a completely different perspective. And I'm so happy and like grateful and thankful that you're like sharing this with everyone so openly. It's
Thank
crazy.
you.
Seriously, I appreciate it so much.
Thank you. That's really nice, honestly, because sometimes I'm like, I don't know how I look to people. I don't know how it's perceived. So I get like embarrassed about it sometimes, but it's also
Yeah.
like, I am trying to be the person that I needed during this whole situation, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. You know?
No, 100%. And I feel like a lot of people recognize that too. I mean, you've grown like your TikTok following. So I don't want to like deflect from what we were talking about before.
Oh, you're good.
I think you started off on TikTok, like kind of starting to share these stories about like your abusive relationship and like leaving your fiance and everything. And then you're like, oh, wow, like a lot of people can relate to this. A lot of people were like looking to you. And I'm so proud of you. You've like grown your platform so much in just the past couple of months since I met you in July. I think I don't even know what you had before, but I remember you texted me. You're like, oh my God, I just hit 300K. And that night when you had those videos that were blowing up, you're like, wow. And I hope that you know that like your words, you're not being annoying. Like you truly are being that person that I think that you like could have used at the time for sure. So you're not being too much. And anybody who thinks you're being too much, like
Thank you.
that's also them being insecure
It's a
and
them
deflecting onto
problem,
you.
not me.
Yeah, exactly. So you do all this research and you're like, okay, this is exactly what it is. You're combating these conversations. And then eventually it leads you to being like, to realizing that you need to leave the relationship.
Yeah, because it got to the point where I was like scared for my safety. I mean, I told you, you know, he like on the voice recording I had where he literally jumped onto the bed and started to beat a pillow right next to where I was laying. Like my head's here, the pillow's right there. He started because he was so angry at me. And he was just like, I wouldn't have to act like this if you didn't make me. Like, I'm only acting like this because you make me. And then, you know, it was like him laughing at how scared I was. Me telling him that I literally thought he was going to hit me. He just like was laughing at it because he thought it was ridiculous. And then he finds out that I'm recording and he like takes my phone, runs into the living room, and he's like, I have Face ID on my phone. So he's like he's like taking his hand and my phone, and he's like trying to like push it into my face to get my face to like open up my phone so he can delete these videos. And eventually he lets me have my phone and he like corners me up against a wall, makes me delete them. I'm like, please give me space. Like, I'm so scared right now, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, this is my house. I'll be where the fuck I want. Like, I don't care how scared you are, delete them. So I delete the video. He makes me go onto my recently deleted, makes me delete it like for good. As soon as I do, he starts walking away laughing. And he's just like, I should call the cops on you. And I was like,
oh my God, no.
Yeah. He was like, well, I was like, do it, please do. I'll show them the other voice recordings I have. Go for it. Call them.
Yeah.
Call them.
Wow.
Of
Like when in
wouldn't.
reality, like you should have called the cops on him, if anything. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So
because it was like I was calling out like all the domestic violence things. I was like, that's a sign of domestic violence. That's domestic violence. Like I was done. Like I didn't care. So
that's crazy.
Yeah.
And so then is that what drove you to call off the engagement then?
No, do you know what? The next day I was going to leave because I told him, I was just like, I need to leave. Like, I have loved you more than I've ever loved myself. And it is killing me. Like, I physically am like, feel like I'm dying. I can't do this anymore. He looked me in the eyes and he told me that I was selfish for thinking that. And then, you know, I didn't go to bed until 6:45 that morning. like that's when he got up for work, but I was so scared of him that I couldn't lay in bed next to him. So he left for work. I try to get some sleep and I tell myself like, I'm going to pack up by 10:30 and I'm going to leave.
Mhm.
9:30 rolls around. Guess who walks through the door?
Oh
Guess
no.
who's isolated with me for Corona?
Oh God, he got corona? He got
No,
COVID?
and you know what? No, somebody at his workplace got COVID. So he had to tell his boss that he was in a room with him for 15 minutes the day before. So he goes up to his boss and he's like, hey, I was actually in the room with this person for 15 minutes the other day. So I also have to go and isolate.
Oh
So he
my
walks
God.
through the door. Oh, it didn't happen. It was just a manipulation tactic because he knew I was going to leave.
Yeah.
He
And
knew
he
it.
was so scared. And he's like, you can't leave if I'm with you.
Mm-hmm.
Controlling you. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a whole
So
nother level too. Wow. Oh
yeah,
my God.
honestly, like I'm like shaking talking about it because like that was the scariest moment. Him walking through that door was like, I'll never forget the fear that I had because I was so scared.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, we had to isolate for Corona for 2 weeks. And I like called my parents. I was crying. I was screaming, crying, literally in the streets of England, like, oh my God, like I just want to go home. Like I'm so scared. Like I just want to leave. And they're like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, couples counseling. I'm like, no. And
Yeah.
they're
It's
like,
way
oh
past that. Gets to a point where
yeah. And
it's
they're
like
like,
there's no amount of like therapy or counseling that can help you. Like the only thing that can help you is just
mm-hmm,
literally stepping aside from what is causing you so much pain. And not that I can really even say that. Like seriously, I have no credibility to be giving anybody advice about relationships at all. Like truly at all. I don't know who I think I am even saying this, to be honest. But like I agree with you. You're like, no, it's past the point of counseling. Like he
mm-hmm.
doesn't get the chance for counseling. He's already hurt you so much that like you don't get the opportunity for that. Because what happens after counseling? He works on it, he changes for 2 months, and you're happy
Yeah,
again. And then it goes back into a cycle.
it
People
happens
don't
again.
change unless
Mm-hmm.
they want to change. So
Mm-mm.
I'm sad. I'm so sorry for you. So those 2 weeks in
Thank you.
quarantine, I'm sure that was probably like really
Mhm.
hard.
Yeah, it was hard. It was scary. I didn't go to bed. I only went to bed at like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. The whole time I was just on TikTok. There are certain creators on TikTok that had been talking about stuff that I was going through. So I just was like scrolling through TikTok aimlessly, listening to these stories, like everybody was telling me that he was just immature. They were telling me it was cultural differences. They were telling me that like, you know, I people literally were like, well, we know how you can get, Gabby, so we can understand why maybe he's a little upset with you. And it's like, no, this is actually just abuse. Like this is just like not okay. But I didn't feel like I really had a lot of people that were like backing me up on the fact that it was abuse. I felt like people were kind of making me out to feel like I was being dramatic about the whole situation. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So these TikToks were the only things keeping me going. And there's a girl, I'm actually friends with her now. Her name's Taylor Higgins, and she had a book that she read on TikTok, and it was all about her abusive relationship. And it was about like how she left her boyfriend that she like loved more than anything. And the only time I could get away from my ex was to grocery shop. So I would go to the grocery store like every single day for like 3 hours. I'm not even kidding.
Mhm.
I would go to the grocery store and I would just listen to these TikToks, and it was literally like giving me the strength to leave. But like he was being so nice to me, because
Right.
he had messed up really badly. So now all he was doing was trying to be kind to me and sweet to me and like be really affectionate. And so it was really confusing because I was like, I want to leave, but he's being so nice and he's acting the way that I want him to act. Um, and I was just like clinging to these TikToks that literally were just reminding me like, yes, they're going to be nice to you for a little bit, but it's just
Mhm.
manipulation, and like, don't fall for it.
Yeah.
And I was listening to those like literally every single day for hours. Um, and then he he like his work shuts down. So he's isolated with me indefinitely at this time.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, like we just kept getting into fights about, other girls
Right.
that I just like knew about. And I was just at this point, I knew I needed to leave and I was going to leave, but I didn't know how, because I was like kind of talking to anybody that would listen to me about what was going on. I had made arrangements for somebody to pick me up on like Friday. So I left November 30th, which was a Monday. So it had to have been like the 4th of December or something. I had arrangements for somebody literally to like come to the flat and help me pack my stuff to leave, because at this point he wasn't letting me leave. Like I had told him plenty of times I wanted to, but he literally was just like not letting me. Like, he just wasn't. And I had been talking to a therapist and they were like, you need to just like, when you leave, have somebody there and you need to just be like, I'm leaving. This is what's happening. We're done. You know, like I can't do this anymore, because he's not going to lash out as bad as he would with somebody else there if I were alone, you know.
Yeah,
He wouldn't lash out if somebody else was there, like he would if I were alone.
for sure. Yeah, that's
So
really good thinking,
I like,
honestly.
yeah, so I made plans with one of my friends that was on my soccer team in college who lived like 20 minutes away. But one day I one day he had to move his car because where we lived, he like had to move his car like every few days. But he wasn't allowed to take his phone because he was technically isolating for corona at this point still. And so he like leaves his phone and it's hidden in the couch. And I was like, the fact that you're hiding your phone literally just tells me everything that I need to know.
Yeah.
And but I was just like, whatever, it's fine. Maybe it's just an accident. And then he comes back like 2 minutes after I find his phone. So thank God I didn't look through it. But then literally he walks back through the door. He leaves like 20 minutes later and his phone was on the table. And all of a sudden the phone's gone and it's not in the couch. So I don't know where it is. And I see his jacket in the corner of the room. And I was like, I know he did not hide his phone in his jacket. I know he did not hide his phone in
Yeah,
his
you wouldn't be that
jacket.
dumb.
Oh, that's sneaky. Like literally, why?
Yeah.
Why are you hiding it? So
Right.
then I go over to the coat and I check one of the pockets and it's not in there. And so I'm literally like, Gabby, you're just as crazy as he thinks you are. Like he's not doing anything wrong. You're just crazy. This is like, and I was just beating myself up. I was so mad at myself for even checking. And then this man comes home and I walk out of the room because I just want to see. I just want to see if he goes to his jacket. I'm peeking through the door. I'm like, hey, little peek, like giving a
Yeah.
little peeksy, you know. I literally looking through the crack of the door. And what does he do? He pulls out his phone from the other pocket.
Oh my God. You didn't check the other
How?
pocket?
No, because I
Girl.
was literally, well, because I was like, you're crazy, Gabby. Like you're
Yeah.
actually
You talked yourself
crazy.
out of
You're
it.
just as crazy. Yeah. I was just like, I'm as crazy as he like makes me out to be, you know, like all of the reasons that we have problems in our relationship are just because I'm insecure and I'm crazy. No,
Mhm.
it's just my intuition, actually.
Yeah.
Um, but so I check or I like see him pull his phone out and I was like, you know what? I'm done. Like I can't do this anymore. I'm literally done. So I pack my stuff up. He's like, fine, if you want to leave, you can't stay here tonight. So I'm like, okay. So I get myself a hotel. I pack up all of my stuff. I literally am just like, all right, I love you. I'm so appreciative of you. I wish that I could stay. I would love nothing more than to be with you. I've never loved anybody the way that I've loved you, but like, I got it. I need to leave. He's telling me I owe him money for my engagement ring. He's telling me I owe him money for like this, that, and the other. And I'm like, no, I don't owe you anything. I spent like 10 grand to move here. I have a
Yeah.
$2,000 wedding dress. Like, no.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so I literally pack up all my stuff. I leave half of my belongings there. He looks me in the eyes and he's like, you never loved me, but I
Oh
love
my
you.
God.
And I'm the only one that cares about this relationship. You clearly don't. He closes the door behind me. It's the last thing I've ever heard from him.
That's
I got
crazy.
into the elevator. I got into the elevator. It's literally 3:33 on November 30th of 2020. Got into the elevator, sobbing, crying. I
Mhm.
walked with like a huge suitcase. I walked with a huge suitcase, a giant Vera Bradley, a backpack, and then a carry-on luggage set. Walked half a mile up cobblestone hills
Oh my God.
to a yeah, to a hotel room. I checked myself into the hotel room and I told myself, I was like, if you don't hear from him by 11 a.m. tomorrow, we're going home. Um, so 11 a.m. comes around, never heard from him.
Sorry,
Never
my dad
heard
just walked
from
in.
him. No, hi dad. um, and then I'm like, okay, we have to get to the train station and we have to get to the airport. So I get to the airport and I tell myself, if you don't hear from him by 7:30 tonight, you're buying a plane ticket. Didn't hear from him by 7:30, bought a plane ticket. And I called his mom and I told his mom everything.
Yeah.
She was just like, do you want to try couples counseling? And I was like, no, no, mom, I don't. Because he's telling me I'm abusive, I'm this, I'm that, and the other. And like, if he really thinks those things, he deserves better. But if he's saying that just to hurt me, then I deserve better. So either way,
Right.
like I gotta go.
Yeah.
So I leave. I get to a train station and get myself like to London to Heathrow, and I buy my plane ticket and I am at the airport and I tell myself, if you don't hear from him by the time it's time to board, you're getting on that plane. So I got on the plane and I moved to New York and I stayed with my sister. I had no job, no health insurance, nothing. I
Mhm.
literally didn't know what I was doing because I gave everything up to move to England for him. And
Yeah.
that was it. You know, I've never heard from him again.
You were just so much better off. And I can tell like you just radiate happiness now. And I feel like you use this story now to like empower other people as well. And also like provide a safe space for people who are going through similar things to be able to talk to you. So I'm curious as we like wrap things up, kind of like how you just started over and like were there any support groups that you found or like how you really were able to like find the strength in yourself and be like, okay, I'm going to start over in New York, find that job, like just kind of what you've been doing the past year now since you're about to, commemorate the 1 year anniversary of everything happening.
Yeah, honestly, I just knew that I would be happier alone than I would ever be with him. I didn't have any support groups, I just kind of like went home. I didn't tell anybody what happened for like a month and a half
Yeah.
until I started sharing on TikTok. Like
Mhm.
I honestly just started sharing on TikTok and like a month and a half after I left. And that's honestly what got me through it. Like that was the support group. I had like so many people just like reaching out to me, following me, commenting on my stuff. And that was really the only thing that kind of got me through it. Like, that was it. Like, I had a lot of really great friends and family that were like willing to talk to me at the time, but nobody could understand what was
Yeah.
going on because nobody had been through what I had until I found people on TikTok.
Yeah, that's incredible. I'm so happy for you that you're able to like put yourself out there and take the risk of like sharing every single detail of your personal life. That is not something easy to do. The second you do that, you are inviting people to scrutinize your decisions, to
Mhm.
give their opinions about your relationship, when truly at the end of the day, you're the only person that knows how you felt. And if you can find other people who feel remotely similar in their own situations, then like those are your people. And everybody else that doesn't relate to you, like, and doesn't like empathize to the fact that you went through something very traumatic and like now you're using this platform to help empower other people, like they're not worth your time. So another thing with your job now, so what do you do now in New York? Kind of like a little update about what you're doing now.
Yeah, so I actually only applied for one job, which I'm insanely lucky. I work at a pharmaceutical marketing. I work at a pharmaceutical marketing agency as a project manager.
Oh, okay.
I literally didn't know what that was. My sister did it, and she was just like, "You need a job," and I was like, "Yeah, I really need a job. I need a job."
Yeah.
So I applied for one job, and that's where I am now.
Crazy. And so with a job and moving to a new city and just like honestly really trying to rebuild your life and everything, how have you been getting acclimated to New York and like meeting new people and I guess in a sense like having fun and just enjoying this new life now that you have so much freedom?
Yeah, the first like 6, 7 months, honestly, I kept to myself. I think one of the biggest things when people go through like as much trauma as I have with this stuff, and a lot of people that like get out of abusive relationships, it's really normal for us to isolate because we feel safer alone than with other people.
Yeah.
So, honestly, like it really took me a long time to like start meeting up with people and like feeling comfortable enough to like go out. I don't really meet a lot of new people right now because I'm lucky enough that I have a lot of friends from like college and high school that are in the city. And I used to work at Disney World, so a lot of my friends from
Oh,
Disney World live in the city.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, so I actually have not been very good about meeting new people, except unless they're like friends of friends.
Yeah.
But
No, I don't think there's anything wrong with that
you
either,
know,
too. I think you find your people, and if you find your people, like obviously, of course, you're always gonna be open to like meeting new people, but you
mhm.
get comfortable and like you're happy with who you have in your life. And is if there's good supportive people that can also understand and like your situation too, I'm,
Yeah.
sure those friendships mean a lot to you too.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing is like finding those people that you feel safe with
Hmm.
because, I am triggered every single day. Like I
Yeah.
cry all the time based off of things that happen, that like
Hmm.
remind me of my past relationship. So I really have to be careful about who I do invite into my life on an everyday basis because of that stuff. So I've like done a lot of therapy to just kind of figure out how to weed those people that are safe out.
Right.
Like or that are safe, like how to weed the like non-safe versus safe people, if that makes sense.
For sure. And so my last question is kind of like, do you have any advice to anybody who's struggling in like a similar situation?
Yeah. My advice would be trust your instincts, like deep
Mhm.
down, because I deep down always knew. Um, but you need to like trust yourself and you need to know that like who you are as a person is not based off of your significant other. When I was in my relationship, I knew that I was doing everything that I could to make this person feel more loved. And I was giving up every piece of myself to really make sure that this person felt loved. But like, are they doing that back to you?
Mhm.
Are they giving you the same exact respect that you are giving them? Are they trying as hard to change as you're trying? Because if not, like you just need to know that you're worth so much more. And it's hard to leave those people. It's hard to leave somebody that you love. But at the end of the day, like I always felt lonelier while I was next to that person than I feel now. Like
Yeah.
I can be alone for days and still feel fuller and like happier than I ever felt with this person. And
Yeah.
the scariest thing is to walk away and not know what's going to happen. But at the end of the day, like you you are just kind of in the situation right now that will only be what it is. It's not
Mm.
going to get better. If it hasn't gotten better already, it's not going to. And those good days, they may be great, but like how many more bad days are you having over the good, And I
Yeah.
think you just like really need to self-reflect and like look at the situation that you're in and ask yourself, is this what you want for yourself? Is this the type of love you want to accept for the rest of your life? And if not, like start talking to your friends, start opening up to them, start asking them for help.
Mhm.
There's a domestic violence hotline, there's a lot of shelters. And my biggest thing is just like pick yourself.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you're the only one you're ever going to have.
Mhm. I really like that. I think also too, like talking about your situation in correlation with like fun on weekdays. I mean, obviously this is like a much more serious episode than I've ever done, but I think that it relates in the fact that like you have one life and if you are not happy with
Mhm.
every single day, I mean, obviously you're not going to have every single day. It's going to be a good day. But if you're stuck in a situation like similar to yours or you're in a relationship that is eating away at your happiness and it's not contributing, then you're going to waste so many days until you get out of this relationship that you can finally start enjoying your life. And I think that's really how it relates is like choose
Yeah.
yourself in order to be, like not strong enough, but like know when you need to walk away so that you
Mhm.
live a life that you're happy and fulfilled and it's not being completely consumed by this person that's taking away from it. So, I'm so happy that I was able to have you on here. I know that you're
Yes,
spending
thank you.
the next couple weeks or days. You've been in
Days.
London
Yeah,
for
I'll be back home.
okay, yeah. So you're spending the
Yeah.
next couple days in London, and
Mhm.
seriously, I respect you so much for going back to a place that probably has so much like memories and trauma. And I hope you have the best time there. And like I
Thank
said,
you.
I'm so grateful that you were able to share all of this with us. I know that it's going to be so impactful because and also too, anybody who's listening, Gabby, please plug yourself. I would like for everybody to follow you if they want to hear more from you and want to know you better.
Yeah, my TikTok and my Instagram are Gabby_Marcellus. It's GabbyMarcellus. So yeah, give me a follow. But yeah, thank you so much for having me. And I would love to just say, like, the whole fun on weekdays thing, let me tell you, I would absolutely never have been able to go out and have fun with my friends the way that I do now. I have fun on weekdays. I met you on a weekday,
I
and
know.
that's stuff I
Yeah.
never would have been able to do in my relationship. So let me tell you,
Yeah.
like, it gets so much more fun. My happy days skyrocket. Let me
I
tell
love
you.
it. One of these days, I'm going to get back to New York and we are going to bond over one of those gin and tonics, but hopefully don't make it as strong as
Yes.
that one night.
Okay. No, I won't.
But I know
But I'm so
usually,
excited.
yeah, usually I end every episode with asking like, what's your fun thing to do for the week? But I feel like that doesn't really feel fitting for this. And I feel like you've already given like so much insight. So for this week, just, I don't know. I don't know what my recommendation is. But we don't need a
Um,
recommendation. This week, be
no.
present. Pick yourself. That is what it is. Picking yourself this week in every single decision that you make. That is your fun thing to do because it is fun. When you do pick yourself, you're happier. So
Yeah, I
thank you,
love that.
Gabby, so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, of course. And I guess we'll wrap things up, let you enjoy your time in London, and I will talk to everybody else next Tuesday.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.